Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Your Average Logical Thinker. I appreciate you being here. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you will. I will remind you throughout the video, and at the end I'll even put some things there to remind you, just because it helps the algorithm and then it pushes it to other people so that they can see it as well. If you agree or like anything that I have to say or even disagree, please leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. Now let's get into it. Ebony K. Williams stated very sternly and assuredly that she would not date a bus driver unless he owns the bus. And guess what? Black America went crazy. There are literally hundreds of thousands of watch time hours online of clips and videos of people discussing this. Why is this mainstream news? Why is this mainstream news? It is so annoying. And it's like, we wonder why we're at the bottom of the economic food chain. This is why. Because our attention, our energy goes to the wrong thing. Somebody could say something so preposterous and then we all just go left field and it's like the only thing that we can think about and talk about. We have children out there that need our attention. We got bad kids out here macing their teachers, beating up their teachers over their cell phones. And we can't come together for 5 hours on a live stream to talk about how we as a community come together and get this type of thing from occurring. We're not talking about prevention. No, we're online talking about a black man that got 7 kids or more than that by 7 different women and why he is the way he is. Instead of talking about what we can do to prevent that from happening, I've seen live streams 5 hours and 35 minutes, 2 hours and 50 minutes, clips here and clips there about the dumbest shit that has nothing to do with us. Why are we like this? Ebony K. Williams made a statement. And then she came back and had to give several rebuttals. And within that rebuttal, she talked about Black Americans being on the very bottom of the economic food chain.
And y'all know I've been extremely transparent about the fact that my life choices and my chosen lifestyle are far outside of the norm. So when I said that I would date the bus owner, a lot of y'all heard something different. Some of you heard the following. Bus drivers are whack. Bus drivers are broke. Oh, and I'm too good for a bus driver. The only thing is, y'all made that part up. See, I said what I said. But then some of y'all started talking about salaries and hourly wages, pensions, and benefits. And that's wild because I was never talking about money at all. I was talking about black ownership, but some of y'all made it about money. I'm talking about ownership, black enterprise, and entrepreneurship because really I am talking about black liberation. And if you read my book, you'll understand why. So I'm standing 10 toes down on that position, and I don't really care if you're hurt or offended by it. And since some of y'all are already big mad, let me go ahead and make you incensed. So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
Now, I've heard this before. I've seen the reports. I've read some stuff. And Dr. Claude Anderson is one of the main people that I watch that talks about it. And a couple of other people online. Economists. Thomas Sowell, who I really, really like. He's a conservative, though, so a lot of people don't like him. But he says some really good stuff. And so she discussed this, and she also posted a picture of the Census Bureau from 2015 to 2018, and it shows all of the different nationalities that we have within the U.S. and how much they make per year on average. And guess who's at the very bottom? people that look like me. To see that was so disheartening. It was disheartening. It was embarrassing. And then it welled up a lot of anger. So much that where I wanted to cry because I'm like, damn, this is sad. And instead of us putting our brilliant minds together to figure out how we can go from the bottom to the top, we're talking about things that are just, for lack of better words, dumb. We are putting our energy into stuff that just really, as a collective, we'll put our minds together to have panels about why Black women are no good for the Black man, and why Black men are no good for the Black women. And it's preposterous and it's annoying, and I'm really just over it all. There's so much that we have to worry about, y'all. It's not even funny. If the government doesn't reach a debt ceiling resolution by the 1st of June, a lot of us are going to be asked out.
Then U.S. bonds, the benchmark, would be proven unsafe investments. If the value of the bonds go down, these financial portfolios would too. Investors would demand higher interest rates for their higher risk, and that would raise interest rates for everyone.
It's kind of like being hit by a meteor. When you don't have confidence that the benchmark itself is going to be paid off, it creates uncertainty in financial markets. When there's financial chaos, very often companies lay people off. So everybody has a stake in this.
An analysis by Moody's looked at the different scenarios. If the default is brief and the Treasury prioritizes paying investors, but not, say, senior Social Security, the already fragile economy would have a mild recession with close to 1 million jobs lost. If the default goes on for weeks and investors aren't paid, the economic downturn would be comparable to 2008, costing more than 7 million jobs and wiping out $10 trillion in household wealth. To avoid both scenarios, the House, Senate, and White House must agree to raise the debt ceiling before the June 1st deadline. Many experts call it
a game of chicken,
but a game where we all lose if they don't raise it before the clock runs out.
A lot of us are going to be asked out. Are you preparing for that? Or are you too busy worrying about how you're going to get tickets to go see Usher and Chris Brown, Beyonce and Taylor Swift? Making sure your hair and nails is on fleek. Like, designer clothes, eating out. Like, this is the things that we prioritize. You know? It's really getting out of hand, and I don't understand. I mean, well, I do understand. It really goes back to, it really just goes back to what we've been conditioned to think is right. So it really just goes back to not being happy and not having the desires of our heart. And because we don't have the desires of our heart, we're not where we want to be in life. We don't have that love of our life. We're not being sexually satisfied the way we want to. We don't live in the neighborhood that we truly desire. Our kids can't go to the schools that we may want them to. Our kids may be lacking in education or in a particular talent. So instead of working on those things, we pacify our spirits with things like clothes, food, hair, trips, all the things that we truly cannot afford. We are going into debt.
$1 billion more than Mexico. Yet Spain has 46 million people like we do, and they maintain a 208,000 square mile landmass, and they have their own everything. Mexico has 131,700,000 people, and they're maintaining 771,500 square miles with half the money we have. Yet they have whole countries, and we don't have nothing we can call on. Something happened to us. We got the dollars. We just need some more sense to go with them dollars. Now, do you know we brought...
Trying to make ourselves feel better by appearing to look better than the other average person. 7 out of 10 of us are broke, living check to check. No emergency fund. If they don't come to a resolution on June 1st, all of you guys that get money from the government every month, you will suffer. Are you prepared? Do you have at least $1,500 in the bank to cover your mortgage or your rent just in case the debt ceiling is not resolved? If this shit goes on for weeks, a lot of us are going to be screwed. I am retired from the military. The money that I get coming in comes from the government. And guess what? My money is probably going to be the first to get cut. If you get EBT, if you get food stamps, if you own Section 8, all of that stuff is going to be affected. And y'all think it's a game. Everybody thinks it's a game until it actually happens. Millions of jobs are going to be lost. Like, seriously, y'all are not talking about this stuff, though. Instead, we want to talk about a woman who has a right to say she not dating a bus driver. Who cares? Most of y'all not even going to run into this woman on a day-to-day. This woman is in circles that we can't even wrap our minds around. We'll never be around her like that unless we go to her book signing. So what are you talking about? Why do you care? Date the people that's within your sphere. And guess what? If you want to date somebody that looks and acts and talks like her, get your money up. And then you'll be around people like her. And you can date somebody like her. But until then, shut up. So what? There are men out there that would rather have somebody more fit, more fine, more feminine than me. That's okay. That man ain't for me. But guess what? There's somebody out there that is. Come on, Black Unicorn. All right, she good. She feel me. Do you? Let's spend time on panels talking about what we can do as a community. What can we do as a family to get this back together? It really pains and hurts me that sometimes I just need a break, right? I just need a solid 24 hours to myself, but I don't have anybody in my community that I can reach out to. Half of the people that have watched my son in the past, you know, when I say, hey, are you available 2 weekends from now? Just need an overnight. Sorry, no. Okay, look, I did it to myself, right? Right? I'm the one that decided to have my kid out of wedlock, and he's here, and I got to deal with that, right? My life is no longer my own, and I get that. But when did we get to a point where we don't have each other? I should be able to talk to my neighbor across the street and say, yo, do you think you can keep him for a couple hours while I just go decompress? I want to go for a walk, or I want to do X, Y, and Z. I don't have that. And guess what? I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us. So what happens when that happens, right? Tempers flare, frustrations mount, mental illness kicks in, and then I'm taking it out on my kid who's taking it out on somebody else at school and not minding, right? And then the cycle continues, right? Because I'm not able to give my kid the love and attention he needs because I'm resentful because I just need a couple hours and I can't get it, you know? We are suffering as a people. We are at the bottom of the economic food chain because we're not taking the time to help each other. We're not taking the time to read and research how we can get out of our current situation to be able to do better. And then we're placating ourselves with materialistic things to feel better about ourselves rather than looking at the root cause and then doing something about it. Don't spend a whole bunch of time online watching these debates and these dumbass panels, right? Because everybody's got an opinion. All opinions ain't good opinions. Get the meat of what's being said and click off. and use common sense. That's what I do. I get in, if it's around something that I think I want to hear, if it's, if I'm learning something, it's talking to my soul, I'm going to stay engaged. I may even take notes depending on what it is and who it is, right? If it's not serving me, if it's welling up emotions and I'm getting mad and it's taking me back to shit that popped off before and it's triggering, I get off because it's no good for me. And it ain't good for you either. All I'm saying is let's learn to sacrifice time, energy into what really matters. Let's start doing some panels on how we as a community can get from the bottom to the top. Getting from the bottom to the top may be unrealistic within the next 20 years, but let's at least strive for the middle. I want to make more than the average Taiwanese family in America. Let's see what they doing and let's come together. If you are a bus driver, if you a bus driver and you happy being a bus driver and you already own a home and you able to send your kids off to college, shout out to you. Good for you. If you are a bus driver and you live in check to check, which 7 out of 10 of you are, and you want to get out of your situation, get together with some friends and say, yo, there is a charter bus that I could buy for $250,000, but I need $20K down. Let me talk to 5 of my closest friends that don't live check to check, that invest for a living, and see if they'll help me out. If it's not a black person, go to your white friend, go to your Asian friend, network around people, and come together and buy that bus. And in 2 or 3 years, you will have paid off the bus and all of the money coming in is residual. I think her main goal in her rebuttal, not in her original stance, but in her rebuttal, all she's saying is strive to be more than just what your current circumstance is. Is there anything wrong with being a bus driver or a school teacher or a day laborer? Absolutely not. But if you want more things out of life, doing just that is most likely not going to cut it. That $50,000 ain't really worth $50,000 in America. Especially if you got child support or if you're a single parent. You got to go back to school. Research free programs in your neighborhood. A lot of community college offer free courses. And then once you get educated and you are really good at that, start your own business. When I have people come here to repair my homes, I look for black-owned electricians, black-owned handyman. And they come and they do the work here. You know? Now, they be charging more than what they supposed to, and that's a whole nother gripe, and I'm going to let that go for now. But, excuse me, but it can be done. Anything that you're good at, you can turn it into your own business and partner with like-minded people. It is so hard to find like-minded individuals sometimes in our community that are really down. They say they are, but then when you come up with an idea and you present it, it's like, eh. But guess what? That's not enough for you to just give up. Keep going. And guess what? If your black friends won't do it, go to your white friends. You know? And then when they see you on, later on, they'll be like, hey, how can I get in? How can I get in? And then guess what? You bring them in. A lot of times we have the attitude, no, you didn't want to get in, earlier. So now, no, we got to stop that. We got to start pulling each other up. With us, we have to see it in order to believe it. And that's a problem. We don't use our imagination enough to say, you know what? I could see that being a thing. I believe in you. I'm going to invest. A lot of times we got to see it in action, and then we want to see the dollar signs behind it before we'll even get started or even contemplate thinking about helping out. And that's the wrong mindset. It's keeping a lot of us back. I had a guy that came here, the pest guy. He comes once a month because we get them big ass bugs in Virginia and close to the water, all that good stuff. I'm not nasty. I promise I clean my house, y'all. But he has to come once a month. And at first I thought it was going to be super expensive, but knowing that I'm on a plan, it's only $40 a month for him to come, you know. So if I do see a bug, which is like maybe once a week, the bug is already dead by the time I see it. You know what I'm saying? So it's worth it, right? And my building is attached to other people. You know, when I had a single family home, I didn't have to worry about that. But I'm attached to people, so I have a bug guy. Nevertheless, the bug guy is telling me about his son, who already has his life mapped out. He's a junior in high school, and he wants to be a tugboat captain, right? So his plan is to do tugboat stuff and join the Coast Guard and get his licensure that way, and then become an officer and all that good stuff, right? Well, he's working somewhere, kind of doing that, but not really. But it's a stepping stone, right? He met a tugboat captain when he was a kid, which inspired him, okay? He always knew he wanted to do that. So he's joined different sailing clubs and tug clubs that have to do with water and boats and stuff like that. So he's ran into different types of people. His tugboat dream of joining the Coast Guard after high school has changed because a man gave him a phone call last week that said, "Hey, I remember meeting you 5 years ago and you said you wanted to be a tugboat captain. Are you still interested in doing that?" "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, guess what? I have an opportunity for you. I'm going to make my promise come true. I got a job for you. Starting out, you know, doing, being a tugboat assistant so that you can get that experience. And then once you work for me for a year and you graduate high school, I will put you on as a full tugboat captain starting at $75,000. And then once you get so many hours, you'll be making close to $90K. Are you interested?" Hell yeah, absolutely. These aren't black people. These are white people. But that's what they do for each other. I have a mentor who's 72. And the opportunities that she had as a child were astounding. She lives in a paid-for home. She goes to school all day. She takes classes to learn, and they go on trips overseas and all over the place learning about the history of everything because she can do that because of the opportunities that were afforded to her as a child. My mentor is not black. She's a white woman. You know, I want my kid to have those opportunities as well as all the other black kids around that I see every single day. You know, I want to work myself up to a point where I can offer those opportunities to other kids. You know, right now I'm trying my best to do my part. I talk to the kids in the neighborhood, you know, talk about littering and picking up the trash in front of my house and, you know, having respect for each other. You know, what kind of grades you getting, you know, what I did for a living and how you can do that too. You know, it starts small. It starts in the home, really. But let's have some discussions about that. Let's talk about how we can build up the next generation. Let's talk about how we can build ourselves up. How we can go from wherever we at to the next level. You know, if anybody wants to get on, we could talk about where we are in life individually, and then whoever has ideas of what that person can do to move to the next level can do, and we just have a discussion. Let's have a panel of between 5 and 10 people. I'll host it, and we'll just talk. You know, we'll talk about all the things that we've learned, all the things that we've read, what's worked for us, what didn't work for us. You know, I'm a military veteran trying to get back out there in the workforce. But right now I'm good because I get 2 pensions coming in. You know, I can live comfortable. I can go to the grocery store and not have to worry about how much it's going to cost. Thank God. But I sacrificed on the front end to get to this on the back end. But guess what? The money I got coming in ain't enough because there's still a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do. I want to own a business and I want to finish making books. But I can't do that with the money I got coming in. So I got to go back to work so I can bring in more income so that I can actually get to the level of where I don't have to work and I can just watch that money work for itself. You know, I got dreams and aspirations. I have this townhouse, but I want to buy another property, right? But I can't really afford the type of property I want because interest rates are going up. So all of this debt ceiling, interest rates, the price of gas, all of that, that's why they're pushing EV cars, because the price of gas is going to continue to go up so high that nobody's going to be able to afford it. I went to a gas station and I saw a guy put $2 of gas. Where are you going on $2? He probably just had to go to work and he was going to figure out the rest later. We can't, listen, we can't afford to be in this situation. We can't afford to be in this predicament. We at the bottom. We're at the bottom. It's disgusting. And quite frankly, embarrassing as fuck.